Good morning to you, 7:43 now. Hey, we've got a new pope, born and raised in the Chicagoland area. He said his first mass as pontiff this morning. Our local cardinal, Blaise Supich, was in attendance there. And there's some video of the big event. Dr. Miguel Diaz, retired ambassador to the Holy See, is back with us again this morning. So we spoke with you yesterday, and you said you were going to show me a picture after the interview. This is before we knew who the new pope was going to be. And who was in that picture that just happened to be in Chicago last fall?
Pope Leo was in that picture. Yeah. So and the story behind that is that there were 4 professors from Loyola University of Chicago that have been spearheading with Dr. Emil Secuda, who is the secretary for the Pontifical Commission of Latin America. And we have, with her and Pope Francis, we had this initiative called Building Bridges with university students from across the world. And the initiative started with a conversation that Loyola initiated. And there was a Zoom conversation between Pope Francis and students from the Americas. Well, that's then grew to students from other continents. And to make a long story short, our current Pope now, Pope Leo, was very supportive of that initiative too. So we always thought, oh my goodness, we need to build a relationship with him too, because he's so close to Pope Francis. Of course, never knowing that
and so the goal though, of this Building Bridges platform is to do what within the Catholic Church?
The goal is to engage students, university students from across the world, listen to their ideas, from a diplomatic perspective, I would call it recipes for bridge building, for addressing the salient challenges that our human family has, and to really take those ideas seriously into consideration, and they could be ideas that emerge from students who are engaged in the sciences or in the various humanities, the arts. The point is, whether we're dealing with migration, climate change, conflict, violence, that the young have something to offer all of us, that sometimes we think that because we are we're a little older that we have all the answers. Well, those of us that are involved in education know that God can also speak very powerfully through the voices of young persons. And so this was part of the initiative. And so one of the real happy things, and this is perhaps selfishly for me, is that I know that with Pope Leo now in place, this initiative will continue.
Well, that's good to hear. I want to ask, I have been dying to ask somebody this question, so I'm going to ask you since you're here in the hot seat. We spoke with his brother yesterday, and I can't even imagine. I mean, you are the brother of the Pope.
I know.
How does their life change? I mean, are they able to see him for holidays, Christmas, Easter? Do they get to stay at the Vatican when they go visit him? What does their life look like now? And they live here in the Chicagoland area.
I can definitely say that life changes. I can only speak in terms of from a little fraction, knowing that, when I went from professor to ambassador and how that affected my family, how that affected where I can go, where I could not go. And so it does change. The other thing that changes is the fact that you're no longer, he was in a prominent position in terms of being the head of a dicastery, but clearly there's a big shift now. It's not just a dicastery, now he's the Pope, right? And he's a symbol. As the Pope, he's both the head of the sovereign entity of the Holy See, as well as head of Catholics. And so both that religious component and that diplomatic, more political, universal component that does not just deal with issues that pertain to Catholic faith, Catholic doctrine, Catholic teaching, theology. That's the other side of my brain. But he also deals with the diplomatic side, the relations with states. He will, the Vatican is one of those, this is one of those religious leaders, in an institution that both accepts and sends forth ambassadors to the nations of the world. And so yes, it's that dual dimension that is that will complicate life for him and his family, right?
Just got a little longer, is what you're saying. Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Diaz, for your time again this morning. Great perspective.